Currently, the United States thinks that all drug addicts are criminals and sends them to prison rather than sending them to treatment facilities and getting the help that they need. About 80% of the people in the prison system are abusing drugs, and about half of those people are actually clinically addicted to drugs. In 2017, drugabuse.gov reported that over 70,000 people died that year of drug overdose. Today, I'm going to be talking about the history of incarcerating drug addicts and what the effect of incarcerating drug addicts has on the addict and the economy. I'm also going to be talking about what other countries are doing to help their drug addicts and why the United States needs to change their system. I'm also going to be talking about what you can do to seek help if you're a drug addict yourself or if you know somebody that's going through a hard time in their life and abusing drugs. Incarcerating drug abusers didn't really happen until the early 1900s when legislators believed that if they made the penalties so severe of drug abuse and being a drug addict that it would deter people away from using drugs. They also established a mandatory minimum sentence regardless of the person's personal history or circumstances that they were going through. In 1939, the Assistant Surgeon General stated that addicts were treated like prisoners and not treated as patients, and this is still true to this day. In 1960, the Rockefeller drug law imposed a 15-year minimum sentence for anybody having 4 ounces or more of drugs on them. This was equivalent to a second-degree murder charge. These laws have a negative effect on the addict and the economy of the United States. About 20% of the people that are actually charged with any kind of drug abuse receive treatment. And the other people, 80% of the people, will go into the prison system and most likely go back to jail within 12 months after being released. I personally know that this is true because I had a family member of mine go to jail for drug abuse. The first time he went, he was in jail for about 72 hours, and the first thing he did was contact his drug dealer and get more drugs once he was released and was using again. A couple weeks later, he got picked up again and he sat in jail, this time for 3 weeks. He got released after the 3 weeks and now has a 4-year probation period where he has to serve community service time as well. And he didn't receive any type of treatment at all whatsoever. He had to decide himself if he wanted to become sober and become a productive member of society. He really had to dig deep and treat himself rather than getting help from anyone else. Also, sending people to prison has a negative effect on the economy. For somebody to go to prison because of drug abuse, it costs around $24,000 per person. Rather than if we sent them to a treatment center, it would only cost around $4,700 per person. If we send people to treatment centers, then we'd be able to save that money and the United States will be able to use it somewhere else where they can help people out. But other countries have effectively reduced the amount of drug abusers or have eradicated it altogether. In Iceland, they stopped drug abuse at a very early age. They do this by making sure that making extracurricular activities mandatory for all school-age children. It deters them from ever using drugs or even having the time to even think about using drugs. In Canada, they send all drug addicts that are charged to treatment centers rather than to prisons so that they can get the help that they need. And then in other countries around the world, they actually decriminalize drug use and they provide a safe haven for drug users to go to and provide a safe space so they can use their drugs. But this isn't ideal for the United States because we don't want to enable drug abusers. We want to get down to the root problems of why someone is using drugs and help them seek treatment and help them out. If the United States doesn't change their ideas or change their policies in the system that is currently set in place, drug crime will only increase and drug-related deaths will only increase as well. And we need to help drug addicts because they are just people just like you and me, and they're not criminals and they just need help, and we need to provide a system for them so they can get the help they need instead of going into the prison system. If you know somebody that is a drug addict, or if you're a drug addict yourself, there's lots of things you can do to help yourself or them out. Whenever helping out a drug addict, you can just be there for them, listen to them. Don't treat them as if they are a criminal and doing something illegal. Treat them as somebody you care about and listen to them and get them the help that they need. And also, if you're a drug abuser yourself, make sure to seek help before you do get caught into the prison system or the court system, because that is a lengthy system. Um, you can check yourself into a treatment center, or you can call the National Drug Help Hotline to seek help yourself. Um, if other countries can eradicate drug use and provide the help to the drug addicts, then why can't the United States do the same thing? Um, if the U.S. is really serious about decreasing the amount of drug abusers on the streets and drug related crimes, then they need to stop treating drug abusers as criminals and treat them um, as if the person has an illness. Instead of treating them with iron bars and parole officers and security guards, they need to treat them with doctors and therapists. And then lastly, drug addicts are just people that need help, and we need to just be there for them and give them a helping hand and help them through the process of getting help and getting treatment and becoming a productive member of society.